what you're about to see on the sheet here. There's a lot of words and a lot of arrows and a lot of stuff. It's very simple, frankly. It's all numbered. But I have a lot of people, as I said before, come to me and say, hey, come to me and say, I want to do something with real estate. And the masses, we talked about the masses, right? So what sort of things, give me some bullet points of what the masses do with their money. We already talked about the kind of the sacred cow of the 401k, or if you're a teacher, 403b, or a police officer, 457, or what have you, but kind of that qualified plan, right? Mm-hmm. What else do they do with their money?
Spend it.
Yeah, so let me just write that in the form of this word here. Okay? Do a lot of us try to, or think it's a good idea to prepay our mortgages?
No.
Lots of people think that though, because it's on the radio. The bi-weekly mortgage or the 15-year note. Sometimes they don't even talk about the 30. They just say, wouldn't it be great to do this? And I'm not here to step on anybody's nerves at all today. I'm just giving you financial data. But every time you prepay a mortgage, you increase your tax bill and part with money. Have you ever heard it said that cash is king? Have you ever heard equity is king? What rate of return does equity earn on a house? What's the rate of return of the equity of your house? I'm going to go into my YMCA.
Zero.
Zero. Think of it this way. You close on a house and you slide $100,000 across the table for the down payment on a $300,000 house. What's the bank going to pay you on the $100,000 down payment?
Yeah, that's a good point.
Zero. It created the equity, but it has no return. So in a hurry to create equity could be a problem. Lose a job, get disabled. Events we can't control, and all your money's in equity. You go to the bank, hey, I'm having a little challenge with my income right now, and the credit's not so good, but I got to get that equity out. Will you help me? What do they say? Yeah, come back when you got a job and your credit score's higher. Oh, shucks. Okay? Kind of contrarian thinking, but it's on purpose because this is a journey, but let's get on it versus just succumb to this. Okay. There's a lot, debt, 401k, prepay the mortgage. We save for college in these savings vehicles, like that. Which brings up a neat point. Okay. Some of you who've been here may know this, and that's fine, but let the others answer. When you see these, what do they tell you? What do you think of?
IRS.
Okay. What did you say?
IRS.
Yeah. Are you saying the IRS? Mm-hmm. Yeah. People say, oh, they're pre-tax savings plans or retirement vehicles, whatever. Again, keeping it really simple, at the core, these are IRS tax code sections. That's why they're numbered. So I have a question for you. Who here thinks the government is a good steward of your money? That's usually the response I get. Who here wants to be in business with the government's rules and your dollars? Nobody. But yet, we go to work, get a new job, go to human resources, we check a box, start funding that thing for the next 35 years and think we're going to retire okay. Maybe. In light of the markets recently, maybe not. Got that? Okay. Good. All right. Little sidebar there, because everybody I sit with is doing what I'm showing you here. So my job is to go, okay, if there was another way, would you want to know about it? If so, let's talk about it. So I get people that come to me and say they want to buy real estate, and trust me, this happens to me every single day. I'm a pretty good center of influence for real estate agents and mortgage bankers and title companies. And so you're looking at that thing I gave you. Now you work with this financial model. I love this thing. It's very simple. It's called the PS&G model, Protection, Savings, and Growth. This is the protection component. This is the savings component. And this is the growth component. And I plot a person's financial life in here. And right here is where we see the qualified plan drawer. And they're putting money in here, hopefully a nice amount, maybe $15,000, maybe there's a $3,000 employer match. They've got a house down here for $300,000. They've got some insurance. It's always term. And there's some kind of a death benefit. And they've got a, over here they got a mortgage, and they got an auto, and they got an auto, and they got a credit card, and 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 a student loan. Page 4 on the application of the 1003. And they sit down and they go, you know what? If we could get into a 475 over in a different neighborhood, on a quieter street in a better school district, life would be grand. But we can't. There's that but. We can't. And I get involved somehow and say, well, okay, if you could, would you want to? And they say, well, yeah, but we can't. I say, well, okay, suspend your disbelief for a minute. If you could, would you want to? And they say, yes. So my job becomes gather their data, take a look at what they're doing, and see if I can arrange it in such a way to make this happen. Okay, so I start to talk to these people kind of greatly about, I see you're doing a pretty neat thing here with what you're doing here. Tell me about how that works. Well, it's saving us a whole bunch of taxes, and it's going to be our retirement account, and okay, I say, okay, all right. So what happens is it'll grow in value. Yep. Now, here's where for me it gets a little kind of interesting. I start to ask them questions like, when do you pay the tax on that account? I've had people go, there's tax? Huh? What do you mean there's tax? I say, well, yeah, you're postponing it to a future date. Well, I'll be in a lower income tax bracket then. And I always say, okay, well, how do you know? Well, I'll be worse off, and I'll say to them, well, then I'm not going to work with you. I'm not going to help you get from here to here. I'll help you get from here to here, but not there. So I'm not your guy if you want to be worse off in the future. But we discovered that there's going to be taxes. And so then I say to this couple, and let's say that these guys are 40. And their income for a household is $100,000, and they got some debts like we showed here and whatnot. And I say, okay, what tax bracket do you think you're going to be in 20 years, 25 years? And they say lower, but I challenge them. I say, well, even if you don't know the answer, is it fair to say that we don't know what the tax will be on that account in the future? And they agree with me. We don't know. So then I ask them this. Who do you know that's ever gotten really wealthy guessing? And they go, I guess nobody. Because we don't know. Who thinks taxes will be a whole lot lower in the future? Come on. Who thinks they'll be the same, about the same in the future?
Probably the same.
Who thinks they could be a little higher in the future? Yeah, I would venture to tell you guys that there are 19 trillion reasons why they might have to be higher in the future.
Exactly.
And counting. So they go, wow, hadn't thought of that. And I say, you know what, do one of two things. Make this 3,000 and capture the match, or stop it altogether. Now I got to tell you, I get some pretty funny looks like, that's my retirement plan. I said, you're 40 years old, we got 25 years. And in our country, now we got 45 years. You'll work till you're 85. And take this 15,000 bucks, put it back on your paycheck stub, and use it to buy that house. Oh, I can do that? Yeah, you can. Now, we have tax deductions. Primary residence, you can't depreciate it, but a second home, you could depreciate it potentially. It should appreciate. Do you get a 1099 in the mail when your house goes up in value? No. You're managing your tax bill better. It's physical. You live in it. This list does not appear right there. This has no use, no control, no liquidity. There's market risk. There's taxation risk. There's a thing called rule change risk. If they're writing the rules, can they change the rules? And they do all the time. You know, one of the funny things that came out 5 or 6 years ago was the fees on 401ks. They weren't being disclosed on the statements. So it became a law, you got to disclose the fees on the statements. So they disclosed the fees on the statements. Did that cause them to change the fees? Now they're just telling you that they're bilking you. Okay? They're on the thing, but they didn't lower them. They just said, yeah, you're paying 4 3/4, or whatever the number is. So this couple came to me and said, we want to buy real estate, and I will show them one way to get that done. Now, can this house play a role in their retirement? Sure it can. The one thing I like about real estate, and I own real estate, is you can live in it, you can lease it, rent it, fix it and flip it, exchange it, gift it, sell it. Statement in your file cabinet. Money in motion, liquidity, use, control, physical, paper. Okay, we're a paper society. People have pages of paper in their house with numbers on it that means nothing to them. There's no use and enjoyment. If this makes the family have dinner, do you guys like that show Blue Bloods? I love that show because every Sunday they eat dinner on that big table as a family. That's cool. This is what you're doing here. In your house, the house you dreamt of. So, let me ask you a question. How good a weekend would it be to list and sell a 300 and sell them a 475? Is that a good real estate weekend? I don't know. $775,000 worth of real estate. All I know is from back in my days in Minneapolis, Merrill Lynch put all the $1 million producers on the big spread in the newspaper every year. Wow, $1 million of real estate. They thought it was a big deal. That's close to that right there. And you got people every day going, if I could just get on a quieter street in a better school district, I would be thrilled. I'll bet they can. We just got to display it for them. Let them discover it. Make sense? So that's kind of that move you've got in front of you. If you follow the arrows and look at it, and you'll see all the words. I do this all the time. Now, you might be thinking, and if you are, thank you very much, how do I get, what happens for me, on the front end, nothing. I'm not a realtor, a mortgage banker, or a title person. But do you think they're going to walk away from me when it comes time to pay for school and retire? They're going to go, hey, my guy said don't buy the real estate, put it all in mutual funds, and you showed me how to get the real estate. Can you help me with the rest of my world? I get that every day. I nod my head like this and say, sure. When this is done, come and see me.
So what does the rest of it look like?
Rest of what?
The rest of their world now?
How do you mean?
You just said they say,
Oh.
once I do that, what is the rest?
Yeah. Well, they're going to have, most likely, at 40, probably an 11-year-old and a 7-year-old and a 5-year-old. And what are the two biggest things people have on their minds if they have kids?
Paying for college?
College and retirement. Do you know that's virtually impossible to accommodate both of those things? Unless you're just making high six figures. I speak from experience. I got 1 year of school left to pay. My daughter's a senior at a private school in St. Paul. My middle daughter graduated from DU in June, and my older daughter graduated from the Fashion Institute of Design and Merchandising in Los Angeles a couple of years ago. It's ridiculous. DU, when she started there, the first year was 46. They bumped it to 48, then it went to 52, and the last year was 56. One kid, one school, 4 years, and I got 3. Who I said, I'll pay for your college, because my dad did it for me. That was stupid of me to do that. I can't believe I said that. What was I thinking? Okay, so did that answer your question? I don't know if it did.
No,
Okay.
they've done this.
Oh, I'm going to get there. My last strategy is going to handle all of that. It'll blow your mind, but I'm going to do that last. It takes about 20 minutes, so I'll start that in a little bit. It's noon. Do we need to take a break?
Yes, please.
Okay, go ahead. Let's do like 5 minutes, okay?